Hi, welcome back to Janice Converses. And thank you for all those who have subscribed to my channel. I'm very encouraged by the feedback and hope to continue to bless you with many quality contents that will help you in your life journey. In my early career, I became a qualified bereavement counsellor working for a non-profit organisation who helped those who found themselves in the grip of grief. Little did I know that 6 years of seeing clients as a bereavement counsellor, I would experience the death of both my parents, who died 6 days apart. My whole world came crashing down. I instantly felt like an orphan and was in shock and denial for many months. I too had to seek grief therapy. During my training, I read a book called Living with Death and Dying by the author Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She wrote this book in 1969 describing the 5 stages of grief, which are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages are still commonly used today to identify milestones that we go through in grief. I would like to share 2 important lessons I learned in my time of grief. And these stages are as unique and individual as we are, and we go through them in different ways. There are no set rules for grief. You'll notice that someone could be at the first stage of denial for weeks and others for several months. Also, some people may spend more time in anger and less time in depression. It all depends. The biggest misconception is that we have to follow the stages when the truth is the stages reflect where we are. It's certainly not a prescribed formula that you have to do. I personally found that it helped to normalize where I was in my grief. Sometimes I found myself going through the depression stage more than once. So here I have decided to create 5 separate videos on each stage, giving us time to truly understand and explore each stage because, as we know, grief has no expiration date, and no one should ever expect us to rush our grief, not even ourselves. So let's begin. Stage 1, denial. The denial stage of grief is usually the first stage that happens after a loss. We go numb due to the shock of our loved one's death. Grieving is usually associated with the death of a human being, but it's not the only one. You can experience the whole force of grief from anything that's important to you. You could grieve for the loss of a sentimental object that you've misplaced or broken. You could grieve for the loss of a beloved place, a country you used to live in, and due to circumstances, you've had to move. Or you can grieve for any kind of relationship, a divorce, or a friendship that has drifted apart. Nothing has to die in order for you to go into mourning. You could even grieve for yourself when you grow and change as a person, or your own health as a result of illness, disability, or an accident. Also for a loss of a job, and so on. When we are in denial, these are possibly the statements we will use. I can't believe they are dead. But just last night I spoke to him and we were joking about. This can't be true. No, you've got it wrong. You've made a mistake. Another way denial sometimes appears is we try to function by being distracted. For example, we insist on going to see a movie that we had previously planned before we heard of our loved ones passing, or we go on a shopping spree and it looks odd to people. But this is another proof that we are in denial, in shock, because we are now trying to escape from the pain, because the pain is too enormous to sit with constantly. Our friends could say, just stay strong, you're going to be okay, and so on. And this is their way of trying to comfort us. Remember, it's okay not to be strong. Really, this is what people should tell us when we are on our journey of grief. It's okay to cry, to scream, to take time away. You do not have to stay strong. If you do, moving on through all the grieving stages could become difficult. Grief is a paradoxical experience. In other words, you are doing your best healing when you feel the worst. If you have found this video helpful, please also leave any comments below and feel free to share this information with your friends and family who may be in need of hearing this. There are so many things happening around the world right now due to COVID. How are you dealing with the process of grief? If you would like me to pray for you, please leave your requests in the comments below. Subscribe and click onto the notification bell so as to not miss my next video, which will be on anger, and that's the second stage of grief. So until next time, please take care.